Gang, gang, gang. Hey, yo, y'all made it back. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. If you're watching this on Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth. If you're watching this before Juneteenth, if you're watching it after Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth, everybody. Welcome back to Movie Time with A. Garvin with A. And you are here to talk it up, chop it up, talk about these movies, TV shows, actors. Let's talk about it. In honor of Juneteenth, I had to do one for my boy, my main man, my soul brother, Spike Lee, yo. Oh my gosh, Spike Lee is literally my favorite director of all time. In what world did I think that I would be able to do a review on Spike Lee right now in the first season of Movie Time? Crazy. He's always challenging me. Every film he comes out with, I always miss something, I always miss too much, and I have to go back and watch it again. And of course, I had to, sport my, we won our 40 acres and a mule shirt, I had to sport my jump, for just in honor of this episode. And so, shout out to you, Spike Lee. I love you, I love you, I love you. He's done so much for the black community. He employs so many black people in the filmmaking industry. This is in honor of you, Spike Lee. You see? Fight power. Today we are talking about The Five Bloods. That's right, gang, gang, gang. Which is a story about 4 Vietnam War veterans who returned to Vietnam, and they basically come together to reconcile all those things that happened to them individually, as a group, while they were there. As far as I know, it's not inspired by a true story, but I'd believe it if they said that it was. Now, something to note about Spike Lee movies is they're not one-watch willies, okay? You can't watch a Spike Lee joint one time. I didn't realize or understand Do the Right Thing until What Has Happened Now. And mind you, I watched it my freshman year of college. That was like 4 years ago. And I've graduated college now. You won't fully grasp what he's saying. It's just not gonna work for you, I'm telling you. So this one, you're gonna have to watch again and get comfortable, because this is gonna be a while. Now, Spike Lee, he has been preaching about apocalypse now. If you know Spike Lee in his artistic modes, he uses every technique he possibly can. Every shot is intentional. The way that each shot is done is intentional. The way the actors move in a shot is intentional. The way the actors look in a shot is intentional. On the surface, you're watching something, and then your mind, in the back of your second mind, is also watching something. But you're not realizing your second mind is reading something else until, you realize that you see a character a certain way, which I really appreciate about him as a director, as a filmmaker. One thing about Spike Lee is characters that actors embody. He acknowledges what a character signifies in a viewer's mind when we see him. That can be kind of tricky because, some actors, you don't want to be classified, so to speak, as a one-form act. But he uses that to his advantage, which I think is super cool. A lot of times what he's talking about, we don't really have much time to mold and shape who the character is in your mind. Now, this is just my words, I hope. So if the filmmaker can cue you by who the person is as an actor, and then also you recognize that person in that role so well, we can use that cue for you, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know who he's playing right now. And it also kind of gives you that room, especially if he switches it up on you. It's like, oh shoot, okay, I didn't know that they could do that. You come in with one preconceived notion, and then it changes up. I do appreciate that about Spike Lee. He uses actors over and over again in his films. Definitely intentional. My analysis, he's most likely using that for cue purposes to the audience. So he takes Chadwick Boseman, who has starred in various films as the hero. He uses Chadwick Boseman in this film to embody this godlike figure for these 4 men. He uses so many iconic actors in this film. Delroy Lindo, Isaiah Whitlock Jr., Chadwick Boseman, who we know as the Black Panther, Marshall, Jackie Robinson, who has also played James Brown. He's played so many different characters. The Vietnam War was probably one of the most protested against wars in American history, at least that they tell you, because you're never really certain about what information you're getting. That's one of those wars that people were just so against. People were drafted into that war, whether they liked it or not, and these 4 men were put into the war. One thing that they do point out in the film is how black men were disproportionately selected for the draft, at that time, black people in general made up so few of the American population. And that speaks to the pawning of black people in this country. I mean, they were forced away from their families. Then when they returned home, no one was willing to take care of them because black people were still suffering from the injustices of that time. Imagine having to fight for a country that doesn't fight for you. And you have to give your all, 110%, or you're gonna die. I'm supposed to protect everybody, but I'm also supposed to fight for this country. And while I'm out here, they just killed one of my black leaders. And I still have to fight. It's so true today. People still expect us to keep fighting. I was actually having a conversation with my aunt about how Wanda Sykes, she said, I'm tired of marching. I'm not marching. White people, y'all need to go out and march. Y'all need to go organize these protests because we've been marching our whole lives. And I'm like, that is so true. I do still encourage people to go out and protest. But her point is very valid. Like, we've done all this work. We've been marching. We've been organizing. We've been telling you how we feel. We've been telling you how you can solve those problems. And you're still not doing them. And you still expect us to educate you. It's a lot of work. In war times, people have been pawned against each other because the white person in power wanted two results. One group of people who they did not feel was valuable to go out and commandeer, to invade, and then for the other group of people to not have resentment for the white people, but to have resentment for the black people. And there's resentment on both sides. You have resentment from the Vietnamese people who are like, you killed my people, you killed my parents, you killed my family members. And then on the other side, you have the resentment from the black people who are like, I was doing my job. Somebody told me that this is what I had to do, and so that's what I did at that time. You don't really understand how the film turns out in the end is a reflection of what has been happening in America, what has been happening when America invades other countries to organize democracy in other countries, and it's so common. And let me tell you this, all those organizations, all you universities, all you media outlets, all you fashion groups, everybody who has been pawning black people to get a certain result or to show solidarity with black people, you're wrong. It's shameful, especially these predominantly white institutions. You all are sending your black people, you're like, you know what? This is so sad. You're absolutely right. You all have been suffering all of this time and we have been quiet. Here, you go ahead and you share your feelings. How do you feel, black people? And when you've been oppressed for a long time, when you get a little second to be able to talk, sometimes us as black people, we're like, oh, that was great. Like, this is awesome. Like, you guys are putting us on a platform. Much appreciated. But no, I understand making safe spaces for black people to share their concerns and feelings. That is a necessity. And at the same time, you do not get to publicize what we say in our concerns in our safe spaces out to the public. You don't get to publicize that and then say, we stand in solidarity with these people. No, stop pawning black people. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm gonna call you out on my Instagram. I am. You want to put out a PSA with a bunch of black people in it? All right, now put some money where your mouth is. I'm serious. Stop pawning black people. And it's true for the Vietnam War, is that two people are going against each other, are angry with each other, are upset with what happened in the past, and it's all the fault of a white person. And we're fighting the wrong battles. Ultimately, we're fighting the wrong battles. But I digress. There's a lot of spiritual symbolism in this film, particularly with Paul. Paul of Tarsus is known as the man who was killing Christians for following Jesus after Jesus' death and resurrection. And God kicked him off his horse, took away his sight, and was like, look, get your act together, stop killing these people, I got a job for you to do. Paul in this film very much so reflects that in the sense that dealing with his mistake is what threw him off of his horse. And because he's being blinded by his pride, he's unable to receive any help that he's given. He's also unable to give love to the people that surround him and support him and care about him. Namely his son, who is named David. King David in the Bible ruled over Israel for many years. He wrote many of the Psalms in the Bible. I felt very connected to that because of my understanding of the Bible and understanding of, those characters, Paul and King David. You're not thinking about it until close to the end. And I won't spoil it, but there's a couple of things that give you cues as to, the parallelism there. I love this film. I loved all of it, every bit of it. You cannot watch this film one time and say that I get it. You can't. If you do say it, I know you're lying. You're lying. Stop the lies. Love you, Spike Lee. Such an artist, such an evolutionary filmmaker. Shout out to him and his whole team, 40 Acres and a Mule. So definitely go check out The Five Bloods. Let me know what you thought of the film when you see it. Let me know the stuff that you picked up on after that first watch. I'm willing to have that conversation because you're gonna go watch it after you watch it the first time. And drop some names of movies and TV shows that you feel like would also help for people to be educated in this time of social change, because we are making change in this world. The Breonna Taylor law has passed in Louisville. You can no longer do no-knock warrants, and there is still work to be done. We still have to fight for social change. It does not stop with one incident. It does not stop with one good thing. It doesn't stop with one victory. You have to keep working. You have to keep working at it. You can always follow me at AYEGARVIN, and you can follow me at Garvin Girls Entertainment at GARVINGRLSENT. Hey, 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 come on, hey, 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 hey.